Hi, everybody. Greetings from Ireland and hi, Shauna in sunny Greece. Thank you so much if you've joined us for this final Q&A session in advance of the EcoPrint and Wet Felt Club closing for new members. As always, Shauna will be dealing with comments, etc. behind the scenes. So if you have a question for me, please can you put it in the comments now would be fantastic with some question marks, and Shauna will just make sure I see that. And it would be lovely also to know where you are tuning in from. So this session is going to be short and sweet. And the first thing I would like to share with you is just what the 3 bonus online workshops that I'm going to facilitate for new club members, what they are. And the first one is an eco-printing workshop where we will have 3 Zoom calls during the day to facilitate people in different parts of the world. And we will be printing on fabric and paper and concentrating on different ways of preparing the fabric in particular before printing to achieve different results, but using the same vegetation. Then we're going to have another workshop, again with Zoom calls and plenty of info and inspiration. And that's all about making an origami bag. We've actually already had a challenge in the club last year about there was a felting aspect and there was a making aspect for a bag and eco-printing. So many people did wonderful bags where they wove some fabric, then they felted it and they made the bag. So that's going to be the second workshop. And then the third additional workshop, this is in additional to all the content that's already in the library and your regular live streams each month with me. We're going to have another bonus workshop, and this workshop will be about recycling or upcycling a sweater. If you live in Ireland, we say jumper. So this will be where you may find a wool or a cashmere jumper or sweater that has seen better days. And of course, you can eco-print the whole sweater as it is, but maybe there are a few little holes, or maybe part of it is torn or it's distorted in the shape. So we'll go through different ways of recycling a sweater and then making new accessories from that sweater. So those are the 3 additional workshops, as well as everything in the club that you will have access to. So a recycling sweater workshop, an origami bag workshop, and a fabric and paper workshop. So I'm going to just throw the question out now. Have you got a question from me? And here's Sabina's in South Carolina, 36 degrees and humid. Woohoo, Sabina, that is nice and warm. It's the humidity that's the killer here. We have it humid in Ireland as well. The temperature isn't the worst. I think it's the humidity. So I'm just going to go through a few slides again, just showing you what is on offer in the club. And this is just a sample, just a taster of what there is. So the main thing is to help you get where you want to get in the shortest time possible. And it's very, very easy for you to get overwhelmed. It's easy for me to get overwhelmed when I search online for information about any process. Almost everything that you might need to know about eco-printing is available online, but it's finding the correct information and the information that will give you the results you want. There's a lot of information that actually isn't true online. And with artificial intelligence, as clever as it is now, it can appear as if it is, and if you follow the instructions, you won't actually get the results that you want. So what I share in the club, there are just so many different videos and step-by-step tutorials, PDFs to download, etc., that will help you to achieve what you want without being overwhelmed. You can achieve colorful and complex eco prints and beautiful felt. And very recently, I've added these new roadmaps for success in. And these just will allow people identify where they are when they join the club. You can check and see which level of eco printer or wet felt maker you think you are when you join. And many people who will join will be a beginner. So they would be at level 1. But equally, there will be people who are much more experienced and they might already be at level 5. But with each level, there are milestones, and these milestones are things that you will be able to do or have a clear understanding of when you are at that specific level. And then if you are not at that level, there are action steps to take so you can then move on to the next level. And already the feedback from club members over the last couple of weeks has been really good about these new roadmaps. And in fact, obviously they don't work here, but within the roadmaps, when you look at the action steps, there are hyperlinks with different words. So if you're in, let's say you're in level 2 and there's an action step, you can click on the action step and it brings you directly to the training material in the library to help you, complete that step and then move on to the next level. So you'll obviously learn plenty of pro tips to help you achieve the color and results you're looking for. And the private Facebook group, the club library Facebook, or the club only Facebook group, is really fantastic. That's where I interact the absolute most with anybody who ever studies with me. And so does Shauna. We look at it every single day. We don't want to micromanage people, but this is where you will be able to upload images of everything that you are doing, your successes, and if you have pieces you're not as happy with. And I will give you the feedback that you're looking for and answer your questions about how you have achieved certain results, or if you prefer to change your pot liquid, or if you want to get different colors, how you might possibly do that. And it's also the place to make friends with other members and to ask questions, or if you're looking for particular materials or equipment. The club only Facebook group, we're a small enough group, we're very close knit, and it's very interactive. Then you can elevate your felting game. If you've never wet felted, you may not actually even be interested in wet felting. But what I've discovered since the club launched in January 2022 is that many people who joined the club were only interested in eco printing. However, once they saw how wonderful felt is for absorbing the natural dye from the plant material, they started felting too. And there is plenty of content in the library if you're a felt maker and you just want to felt, but there is probably more content for eco printers who also are interested in felting. Then Nuno felting is a wonderful technique. This is where you're combining fabric and fiber to create stunning pieces of wearable art. And in this case, this is a simple wrap. And I felted this in white, natural, undyed wool and silk. And then it was eco printed. And this sculptural felt vessel was also felted in white and printed. But this particular piece here, this was actually the very first piece that sold at a solo exhibition that I had in 2016. And this is a wall hanging from my dry stone wall series. And this particular wall hanging was actually felted using eco-printed silk, which I then combined with black fiber. So this piece would have been laid out over a very large, it was a large size. And then as the wool and the felting process started and the wool fiber started migrating through the silk cutout pieces, it was really beautiful and it really shrunk and it really crinkled. So you can make purely decorative pieces using your eco-printed silk or cotton, as well as you can make felt and then print it. And don't let the changing seasons hold you back, because there are always different sorts of vegetation, regardless of where you live in the world and what time of the year it is, that you can actually eco-print using. There are some kitchen ingredients, and that you can dry leaves to use at different times or freeze them, or etc., etc. So all of that knowledge is available for you in the library. There are plenty of step-by-step videos, and very soon there will be more, because at the end of this week I'm preparing the studio, and next week I'm actually doing some eco printing on leather without using traditional powdered mordants, and that section will then get added to the library. There are PDFs to download. There are 2 live calls each month with me, and one of those is a training call, and one of those is a Q&A session. But during both calls, I will answer any questions. Sometimes we have a guest experienced textile artist as well for those calls, and other times it's just me. And because we live in different parts of the world, I just want to be clear that one month we have the calls early in the morning Irish time, and the next month we have them in the evening, so that regardless of where you live, there will be calls that you are able to participate in and have your questions answered live. But of course, you can always ask me the questions beforehand, and also the recordings go up into your library afterwards. So if you can't join me live anytime, you can join that. We've already had some hands-on Zoom workshops, and they are in the library. And there are also challenges, which I didn't mention before. There are some really good sections in the library with step-by-step videos about the different challenges. The origami bag challenge we had before, a Brooklyn coat, natural dyeing with eucalyptus rather than printing, etc., etc. All of those sorts of things, and any hands-on Zoom calls and workshops, they all go into the library. There's eco printing on paper, tannin and iron reactions, Simplicose, which is a plant-based mordant, indigo, just a small little bit about indigo, organic indigo and print, and then printing on leather is going into the library in a couple of weeks. It's being recorded next week. And in relation to tannin and iron reactions, this piece that I'm wearing right now, this is just a linen top I made, one of the first ever tops I cobbled together myself. And this fabric here in the front, and there's a different fabric behind, I hope you can see that. This is actually part of an old linen tablecloth, an old French linen tablecloth. And this particular piece, I used cherry leaves from my trees in the garden, and also I used coreopsis flowers for this. So you can get different colored backgrounds using tannin and iron reactions. This one happens to be a sort of a brownish color, but depending on the tannin that you're using, you can get different colored backgrounds and extend your color palette without having to use the traditional powdered mordants. Then you can, learn more about working large, big blankets, etc., sewing to print, printing to sew, felting to sew, natural dyeing. So in this image here, the fabric on the right hand side, the orangey, rich orangey rust color, that's both these pieces of fabric are felted. They're a combination of wool and silk, and the plain color was naturally dyed in the aluminium pot using red giving eucalyptus leaves. And then the eco printing was done in the aluminium pot using mixed eucalyptus leaves. So there's a section in the library about naturally dyeing fabric using vegetation without using a mordant. And there would be some other different types of vegetation that give you substantive color that won't wash out. Plenty about upcycling clothing. And in fact, I have some new pieces to print, including a beautiful long silk dress that I am actually printing and including access and videos to that for a previous workshop will have access to those videos. So they will also be going into the club library. So a long silk dress with beads and sequins. So you can just ask yourself, are you committed to mastering the eco printing in the Dirty Pot process? And if you answer yes, honestly, I really, hand on heart, believe this is the membership for you. If you're interested in wet felting, do you want to elevate your wet felting and maybe try eco printing on your felt? There are plenty of step-by-step tutorials about creating flat felt, Nuno felt, and sculptural felt, as well as smaller components such as cords, balls, flowers, etc. in the club. And these can be felted in color, or they can be felted in white and then eco-printed. And so how much does the membership cost, and is there a clear or a good money back guarantee? And this is something that I am really passionate about, because I only want to work with people who want to work with me. So there is a full money back guarantee, a 14-day money back guarantee. And this guarantee holds whether you opt for the $99 per month subscription, or you choose to get 2 months free and you opt for the $990 per year subscription. So if you subscribe and you join the club before the closing time this evening, so that's 11:59 this evening Pacific Daylight Time, if you join before then and you decide within the first 14 days that the club is not for you, you don't have to prove to me that you've looked at the information. It doesn't make any difference. I will give you your full money back, and that's guaranteed. So that's the first guarantee. Then the second thing I would say to you is, if you are interested in the club and you are not 100% sure about, whether you want to stick with it for a long time or how your financial situation is, you can join the club using the monthly subscription option. And then a few months in, you can decide that you want to leave the club. Again, that's no problem. Obviously, I would hope that people will stay for a year or longer, but there's absolutely no problem. If you pay the monthly subscription, you can stop at any time before your next payment date is due. But if you join and we go past the 14-day money back guarantee and you have chosen to save $200 or $198 and you've paid the $990, that money is then, you have your subscription for the year, but you don't have to obviously pay it again next year if you don't want to. But after the 14-day money back guarantee, you can't get your $990 back. You can get it back up to the 14-day. So I just want to be clear about that, to make sure that you know that there is a full money back guarantee with both of those subscriptions. And then I've had a few questions come in over the last few days via email. And so I'm just going to quickly go through them. And the first one is, when will I open the club up again for new members? So the simple answer is, I'm not 100% sure, but it won't be until the end of November or December. And it may possibly not be until next year. And the reason for this is that I do help care for my mother and my father's cousin part-time. And I'm very, very busy, and I want to give my best to the members that I have. That's why I have a closed membership model, where I open the club for a limited time, take in new members, and then help everybody integrate and get the success that they want. So it definitely won't open again until the middle or end of November. It may not open again until next year. Another question that I get asked is, how much experience do people need to have to join? And it's been very interesting. People come and join. Some people have absolutely no eco printing experience or no wet felting experience. Some have experience of one and not the other. But there are other people who join who have plenty of experience. And in many cases, from the eco printing perspective, there are also people joining who are experienced at working with traditional powdered mordants, but would like to move to a more sustainable and health conscious way of working. And for those people, then it's like starting again in many ways. So that's just something that's quite interesting. So people come from that, but you don't need experience, but you can certainly join the club if you have experience. And somebody here is saying they love my top today. Gorgeous. Thank you so much. It was really hot when I got out of my bath. So even though we've been having a lot of rain here, it's quite warm and muggy. So linen is the perfect thing to wear. Thank you very much. I'm not sure who left that comment. So the club won't open again until mid to late November at the very earliest. You do not need to be experienced to join. And in fact, if you have no experience, it's almost perfect, because you're going to learn everything and you're going to avoid all that trial and error and researching online, and learn from a pro right from the beginning. And then if you're concerned about the software or using the learning platform, I teach on a platform called Kajabi. And if you feel you don't have a lot of experience on the computer, honestly, if you're able to send an email and you're able to watch this video, you will be fine to join the club, because Shauna and I help everybody all the time. We are there if you have problems logging in. We're there to help you if you need a hand finding something in the club. And once you've had your first week or two out of the way and hopefully either joined one of my onboarding calls, my live calls, or watch the recordings, it should not be too difficult for you to actually navigate the library. So don't worry if you don't have much computer experience, we can help you. But honestly, if you can write an email and you can log in and watch this, I think you will be fine. So I think that's really everything. If you have a question, please could you put it in the comments now? Otherwise, Shauna and I will say good night, and we will leave you to make your final decision, and hopefully we will see you in the club. So I'm just having a look here. No questions coming in. So I think that's really it. So Shauna and I would really like to say a big thank you. And I would like to thank Shauna. She keeps me sane behind the scenes. So thank you so much, Shauna. Thank you so much to everybody who joined the bootcamp and who's watching this video now and who is potentially interested in joining us in the club. We'd love to have you along. We'll do our best to make it a fun, enjoyable, and very profitable experience. So let's say goodbye, and we hope to see you there. Over and out from Clasheen. Oh, Laurel is asking me, she asked a question from the bootcamp. Laurel, you can ask any bootcamp questions by leaving comments on the bootcamp videos, not here now, because this is for the club only. So thank you all so much. Over and out from Clasheen.